let me bring in our guest. We had a little, it's a busy day in Capitol Hill, so I appreciate Senator Merkley giving us a few minutes here, Democrat from Oregon, and somebody who is still a potential presidential candidate. Senator Merkley, welcome to your State of the Union Day. Let me ask my first question to you this way. The president is supposedly going to make this call for some sort of working together, bipartisanship. How obligated do you feel to at least take him at his word tonight and give him the benefit of the doubt tonight, or do you think it's too late?
Well, it's never too late. If the president turns over a new leaf, if he becomes sincerely interested in the future of our country, if he abandons his intense effort to divide Americans against Americans, if he wants to have a bipartisan plan on immigration, on infrastructure, on lowering drug prices, I'm certainly ready and willing to listen.
So he could say something to you tonight that would be like, you know what, I'm taking him at his word. That plan for bringing down prescription drug prices, the fact that he spent as much time as he did on it, I don't know if he will, but assuming he does that, do you come out tomorrow semi-enthusiastic about taking him at his word, or do you assume or do you look at it skeptically and think, I want to see a little bit more before I trust him?
Well, I do want to see more because we have heard him talk about lowering drug prices before, and he never put forward a serious plan to do so. I would invite him to look at my bill for lowering drug prices, which says you can't gouge Americans anymore. You can't charge them more than the median price in Canada, Japan, and major European countries. I'd like to see him really say we're going to tackle this.
Let's talk about what he could or could not say about immigration, the issue of border security, his call for a wall. You have, since the government reopened, you have said, look, if there is a case for new barriers, you're open to that. How should the president take that comment from someone like you, that if you're saying, okay, make your case for some new barriers, I'll listen? Should he see that as you moving?
I've been down to the border, and the border guards have said there are some places that it would be helpful to have a vehicle barrier or a fence. They have said they do not need a wall. They do not want something they can't see through. They don't need a 4th century 30-foot wall for a 21st century challenge. Sensors would be useful. More border guards would be useful. All the Democrats have supported border security, but not the wasting of our taxpayers' money, and not a wall that the president has turned into a racist symbol of division.
So can you still work with him, though, if he accedes to some barriers, even though he may tell his supporters it's a wall? Or because of the rhetoric, it makes it harder to cut that deal? Do you see where I'm getting at? You may agree on some semantics, but he may sell it in that way you just described to me that you didn't like.
Well, I'll look at the substance of what we're talking about. Sometimes the art of a deal is that people will describe it in different ways, but I think people will look to the reality of what actually is being funded. And so if that is satisfactory, then that's fine. Again, border security, smart border security. But I would like to see us go much further. I'd like to see the president say in 2013 we had a bipartisan bill, supermajority in the Senate. We addressed most of the major issues regarding people overstaying visas and increasing the number of visas where needed for agricultural economy, high-tech economy. We really worked to say, let's end the broken immigration system. And if the president came out and said, you know, I'm tired of this partisan politics, I want to actually fix the immigration system instead of preserving a broken system for politics, it's a conversation to have.
What's Stacey Abrams' job tonight, in your opinion? What do you hope viewers learn from Stacey Abrams tonight about the Democratic Party?
I think she's going to lay out a very positive vision for the future where we address the fundamentals for families to thrive on health care, on housing, on education, on infrastructure and living wage jobs. I'm hoping she will also say we have got to work to take on the corruption of our Constitution through gerrymandering, the voter suppression, the dark money that is destroying we the people government. We want Democrats want and believe in our Constitution, our we the people government. But we have government by and for the powerful, the 0.1% right now, the Trumps of the world. We want government for the people.
You have been a co-sponsor of Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill. There is a bit of a debate that is popping up in the Democratic Party. It's going to be a big part of the presidential primary, I think, and a healthy debate inside the party. You may participate in that. You may not. You haven't decided yet. Medicare for all, aspirational goal, realistic goal. Is the party overselling it, or do you think it's something the next president really can make happen?
I think it is a vision that if we build enough of a movement towards it, it can happen. What we know is that our current system is twice as expensive as of that of other developed countries and is producing far worse results in medical terms and enormous stress for the American people. So maybe we can't take that leap all at once, but if we don't lay out the vision, how will we take any steps at all out of our current expensive corporate profit system that is expensive and stressful and could be so much better?
So it sounds like you think maybe in the meantime, you add on to what we have before you go all the way?
Well, I would like to see us build the momentum to enable every American to have the opportunity to participate in Medicare for all. I know this is what I have presented is not only supported Bernie's bill, but laid out a Choose Medicare bill where every American could say, yes, I have the choice of participating in Medicare. And once I do, I can carry it with me the rest of my life and get rid of the broken system we have right now. That would be an enormous step in that direction.
You are still considered a potential candidate. You had said you were going to make a decision in November. You backed off. You keep asking for more time. What's missing in this field that you're waiting to see before you decide?
I want to see a field that is committed to three of the most difficult issues we face. One is restoring we the people democracy, which I just spoke to.
Yep.
A second is rebuilding the foundations for thriving families, the health care, the housing, the education, the living wage jobs. And the third is taking on carbon pollution and climate chaos, which we cannot wait for the next generation to tackle.
So if you don't think a candidate's doing that, you're jumping in. That's your mindset?
That's about what it boils down to.
Fair enough. Senator Jeff Merkley, Democrat from Oregon. We'll be watching. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.